What does it mean to be a vulnerable Christian man? Walking through life weak and powerless is not what Jesus had in mind for us. It's time to fight. It's time to get comfortable being uncomfortable. We are Obi, Sean, Brandon, and Shane, and this is
Hello,
The
and welcome back
Truth.
to the Uncomfortable Truth. I'm going to start
super uncomfortable.
super uncomfortable. Sometimes late at night, I lie awake and watch you sleeping. That's uncomfortable.
Is that Garth?
That's Garth. Long dreams.
She's lost in peaceful dreams.
That's it.
So I turn out the light.
Lay there in the dark.
Yeah,
keep going?
We can keep going if you want to.
Go.
Nah.
Come on. And the
good.
thought crosses my mind. That's a little bit. It's a little bit uncomfortable to think that I lie awake and watch you sleeping, Obi.
You know, it is very uncomfortable to think that.
I just reach over and close your eyes. It's okay. Good to see you.
I can't.
The perspective of that song just changed
That
a
was
little bit.
really uncomfortable, and my face is red. And all right,
Go to sleep,
you
sweetheart.
achieve your goal.
Perspective.
Nothing like Garth Brooks on a Christian podcast.
That's right. Garth. Love some Garth.
Shout out. Hashtag.
What's up, Garth? Garth is actually one of our subscribers.
Yeah,
He regularly texts me saying, "Good show, man."
yeah. And that's why you sing his songs.
That's right. Yeah.
Oh man, that was
Changes
good.
the perspective of a Garth song, doesn't it?
A little bit.
Yeah, when I'm singing it to you versus like when you hear that song, I'm thinking about my woman. I'm thinking about my wife. Now you're going to think about where's Shane.
Yeah.
Is he in my house right now?
Every time I hear,
What's the name of that
I
song?
lie awake and watch you sleeping or dreaming or
Yeah.
something.
Good stuff.
It's If Tomorrow Never Comes.
If Tomorrow Never Comes. Yeah.
Which
that's
is actually a fantastic song.
It's a great song.
So anyway,
All right. So
welcome back.
welcome back. We're talking about perspective. Let me pose a question to you.
Hit me with it.
If I said you have to come up with you have to come up with $10 million this year.
Okay.
You got at the end of the year you got to have $10 million in your possession. What are the chances or the percentages that you feel like you could actually come up with $10 million in a year?
What is the $10 million being used for?
Oh, we'll get to that in a second. But if I just told you, you needed, like in your regular life,
You
and
needed me to
your
raise $10 million
in your job,
for something.
well, in this instance, it's just, hey, what are the odds of you doing what you're doing right now and not changing a whole lot? And if I said, you want to make $10 million, sure, I want to make $10 million. Well, what's the odds of that happening in this year?
Slim.
Okay,
Very, very slim.
that's what I would say too.
Yes.
Let me rephrase that question. Somebody kidnapped your kids and your wife, and they say, I'm going to keep them safe for 1 year, but after that 1 year, they will be no more. I need $10 million at the end of this year. Now, what are the odds that you're going to come up with that $10 million?
Very high.
100%.
Well, extremely high. We will find $10 million.
We'll get it.
It's going to happen.
Yeah. We're going to make it work. You're going to tell everybody that you're going to go out and work your butt off. You're going to do everything that you humanly. So if that actually happened to you, you would get the $10 million. No doubt, right?
I don't think there's any question.
Perspective.
Yeah.
Perspective. How do we, and I pose that question, what is our perspective on the people around us that need Jesus?
What is our perspective of the people around us that need Jesus?
We could talk about what it is and what it should be.
Yeah. I think my perspective on the people around me that need Jesus is I want to be a light.
Mm-hmm.
I want to be I want to be someone that makes them ask questions.
I agree.
About what makes Shane different. Shane, why do you live your life this way?
Yeah.
I want to be a living example of. I want to be the hands and feet of Jesus.
Mm-hmm.
That's my perspective. I want to be the hands and feet of Jesus. In my everyday walk, where I want to live a life above reproach. Where people want to ask questions. They want to know what makes me different. What is that? Is that kind of?
Yeah, that's where I was going. Is like, what is our perspective now? And I would agree. Like, I want people to see. That's usually one of my main prayers. Like, Lord, let me be the light for you.
Yes.
Because some people may not see the light through anybody else but me.
Right.
And so I want to be that. I want to be that conduit for God. But what if you woke up this morning and God said, hey, grab your pencil. And he said, hey, there's a guy named John Peterson. And there's a girl named Christina. Okay. Mm-hmm. Christina Yamaguchi.
Is that somebody real?
I think Yamaguchi is a skater.
Okay.
Yeah. And there's another dude named Joe Pine. And these are people that you're going to come in contact with today. You don't know them yet. But Obi.
But you're going to run into them.
Yeah. And Obi, they don't know me. And tomorrow they're going to die. What are you going to do about it? How does your perspective change?
I'm going to have a sense of urgency. I'm going to, in the moment, I'm not going to beat around the bush. We're going to get down to the brass tacks of the matter. And I'm going to I'm assuming these people have never seen me, never met me.
Never met. Or even what if they have?
Yeah.
What if it was your best friend and you got that word from the Lord?
Yeah, we'd have a early morning appointment.
Yeah.
And I would be making sure that that their heart and that their that their heart was right with the Lord, and that I would be. That would be, gosh, can you imagine that?
Can you imagine?
I mean, can you imagine? Like, what would they say? They would be like, what?
They probably wouldn't believe you.
Right.
Anybody.
Nobody would.
Yeah.
Nobody would believe you.
No. But if you were sure.
Depending on the person, it may give them some pause and concern. It may make them live that day differently. Mm-hmm. But that I would think that there would be this isn't gonna happen.
Yeah, you're dude, you're off your rocker.
You've lost your mind, Obi.
Yeah.
You finally have. I've always thought that your mind was lost, Obi.
Yeah.
But now I know.
No, you're a little crazy. But how do we, if we knew that people are going to die?
Well, we know that.
We know people are going to die.
That's not a perspective. That's a fact.
Yeah, that's like one of the few guarantees.
It may be, they say death and taxes. Taxes, there's people that evade taxes their whole life.
Yeah, you can get out of taxes. You can't get out of dead.
You're going to die.
You're going to die.
Your days are numbered.
The older I get, the more that becomes a reality. Not that I feel like I'm scared of it, but I feel like there's I think some anxiety comes from thinking that I'm not doing enough of what my purpose is. Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And the purpose is the window for the purpose is getting smaller. There's a calendar that you can download online. It's called Your Life in Weeks.
Tells you how many more weeks you have.
Yeah, and it's just dots that you fill in. And if like this sheet of paper is dots it fills in the weeks that you've already had. And so if we looked at our life in weeks and dots, half of our dots would be full.
Yeah. Does it base the last dot on the average lifespan?
I think so. Okay. So, you're probably for a man, and this is assuming you don't get, have airplane crash or car wreck kills you.
Untimely death, you're
Right.
looking at
70,
78-ish.
76, 78, I
78.
think. Yeah. So we're
77.
past, I'm past my half-life.
Me too. I'm right on it.
You're right on it.
38 would be 76.
Man.
Right
Okay,
in
yeah.
the middle.
Yeah, right in the middle.
Yeah.
So you have half of your weeks left. And if, like, the whole thing I'm trying to get to here is perspective, changing my perspective on what will we do with our time left.
Yeah. What is your day? What does every day look like for you? What is today? What are you going to do today to fulfill your purpose?
Mm-hmm.
What or your calling? Because if you're a Christian, you have a calling.
Our calling is to tell people about Jesus, to plant those seeds, to love God, love other people.
That's
I mean,
right.
to be simple. Be simple. Jesus died for our sins. That allows us access to God, to Him, to heaven, and we're supposed to share that. It's
So-
brass tacks.
That's right. That's it. So if you know that, and you know that half of your circles or your boxes are checked, and you only have half of them left, it definitely opens your eyes to think, I better be making the most of my time.
Mm.
And it's certainly going to give you more motivation. It should be giving you some more motivation when you wake up in the morning to, if those opportunities aren't presenting themselves to you, hey, let's go create some. And if we're not creating them, we better be recognizing the opportunities when God puts them in front of us.
Yeah.
You know, that's interesting.
I was debating on telling this story earlier, but the other day, Courtney and I were out at Methvin, at our properties on Methvin, and we're trying to get the power turned on there, and nobody seems to know what's going on. There's somebody says the power's on. Somebody says, no, it's not on. Somebody says the switch isn't on. Somebody says, well, that switch on. There's no power at the property. So Courtney and I are walking around trying to find what's going on. I'm not an electrician. I don't know what the heck is going on. And Courtney's had talked to the city, and the cities, Courtney had talked to the power company. The power company said, well, there was probably a fire switch that somebody flipped because there was a fire next door. And she talked to the fire department, and the fire switch could be near the power. So I say, hey, run back there behind that building and see, I'm going to check out over here. She said she's walking to the back of the building, and if you know, this area is there's traffic for the homeless coming through this area. They come from South Longview through this area to a park, hang out at the park, and then work their way back at the end of the day. Courtney said, I got a feeling, man. I got like this premonition, this feeling that somebody was here. This building that has halfway burned down right beside ours. So Courtney's just called out and said, hey, if there's anybody here, this is midday, middle of the day. If there's anybody here, I don't want to scare you, and I don't want you to scare me. So just say something if you're here. And then she hears this. Like, there was somebody there.
Wow.
And so she came and got me. I walked back over there with her, and homeless lady was just crouched back there, kind of chilling for the day. And it was one of those moments of perspective. We had the opportunity to just talk to her. And Courtney's really good at taking those opportunities. And she would never want me to tell this story because she doesn't. The Bible says, like, don't tell one hand what the other hand is doing. Mm-hmm. She doesn't need any kind of gratitude or glorification or anything like that. Neither do I.
There's so many times, I'm reading the New Testament right now, and I don't mean to interrupt your story, but there's so many times in the New Testament where Jesus heals someone. He heals them, and he tells them not to go tell anyone.
Yeah.
And they can't
And
not.
what are they can't not tell somebody.
Like almost
when
the very next paragraph, it's like, and they went and told the entire city in the city.
Yes.
And Jesus had to leave the city because he was, all of these people were coming. But it's like news like that.
The reason that I can't not tell this story is because Courtney, we talked to her for about 30 minutes, and Courtney said, can I pray for you? And at first, Courtney just put her hand on her back, and it was just like it was a redefining moment of this lady just sunk into Courtney, and it was beautiful.
Yeah.
It was absolutely beautiful, and is just a showing of the love of Christ. Is like this person felt like they're nothing, and some of the things that she's been through, ongoing and recently, are like the lowest of the low that a human could do to another human. It is disgusting, and she's not disgusting. The things that have happened to her and her circumstances, some of them are, and just how Jesus can come into somebody's heart that feels like they aren't worth anything and say, "You are my child. You are worth everything to me."
Yeah.
It was it was a life-changing moment, and those are the moments that change my perspective,
Yeah.
that make me think, like, it's not about these buildings down here that we're renovating. That's cool. But what if all of this, we've been doing this for a year at downtown, what if all of this was for that moment?
Yeah.
That would be enough.
That one sheep.
Yeah.
That, and we talk about that. And
Yeah.
we talk about that on this podcast, and we talk about how if one person is impacted by something that we say,
Mm-hmm.
if one person is impacted by what the Holy Spirit has to say through us,
Yeah.
Then it was worth it.
Absolutely.
It was worth the, camera and these microphones, and setting up this little studio and, I mean, that's what if that was it? I think that wasn't the only thing, though.
I don't think so either. I think there's a masterful purpose, and that we just can't lose perspective. Maybe that was hey, bring your perspective back to this.
That's right.
Okay? What can you do for my kingdom here with these buildings?
Yeah. It's like, and God gave you that. He just opened your eyes in that moment to the reality of, this was your perspective. You were perceiving this because you didn't know that I was going to put this in front of you.
No.
Now showing you, keep going.
Yeah. Keep
going. Keep the perspective. Keep this about me, because I'm going to do some really mighty things in your life. We make all of our plans in our perspective.
Naturally, our perspective is selfish.
That's right. It's generally it's selfishly ambition or selfishly motivated. And that sounds so bad, but it's just the truth. The truth is that we generally are motivated, and our ambition lies in selfish endeavors, and so we want to, whenever God gives us those moments, it's like, keep doing what you're doing, but just make sure that you're doing it for me.
Yeah.
Make sure you're doing it for me and for my glory. That's so cool. What a cool story.
It was, there's some other parts of that story that I probably want to get into at some point, but not at this moment. We're going to wrap it up right there. We appreciate y'all being here with us today. If you're gaining value and think that other people need to hear this, then things that you can do are on Apple Podcasts. Leave us a review. That really helps the engagement. And then on YouTube and the other platforms, comments, liking the channel.
Hit the bell.
Yeah, hit the bell, subscribe, those things. Any kind of engagement, YouTube says, hey, this is valuable, and we're going to push it out to more people like you. Hey, YouTube has your algorithm, and YouTube probably knows you better than you know yourself. So if you're seeing things on YouTube, it's probably because YouTube knows that you like those things, which also leads me to, if you're seeing things on YouTube you don't need to see, then it's because your algorithm says that you want to see them. So change your algorithm today.
Yep.
Go out and kick the day in the face, and we'll catch you on the next one.